Well, here I am on the foreshore. It's a bit of a grey, miserable old day, but it's great to be outside. And I'm excited to see what I'm going to find. And the foreshore is looking really clean, which is great. No sludge covering up everything, and that's what you want. Okay, it's really funny. I just stopped for a moment and glanced to the side, and I spotted a little something over there in front of a brick. And then I looked to my right, and I saw something over there. So I'm going to see if you can see them as well. Really unusual how things go sometimes. So just down there, in front of that little bit of brick, right in the middle, can you see what there is? It's lucky that it was that way, facing that way, because I wouldn't have noticed, I don't think. Can you see it? It is a little face. So we'll go and have a look at that. But first of all, let's just look over here as well. Just to the left of that big slab. There, embedded in the mud, is a little bead. Can you see it? There it is. So, let's go and have a closer look at both these delightful little objects. First of all, let's have a look at this little tiny head. Oh, look, isn't that adorable? Despite all these years sitting in the mud, she's still got her red lips. And then over here, a little splash of colour in the mud. There it is, a little bead. Beautiful little bead. A glass bead. So my first rainy day finds today. Now, a few weeks ago, when I didn't have my camera, typically, I found this odd-shaped thing, which definitely looks like bone, except it's got this sharpened bit, and it really, really puzzled me. And I've now found out what it is, but I'm going to ask you if you know what it is. I'll tell you at the end of the video, but have a think and see if you can work out what this weird thing is. Kind of looks like a feather, a fossilised feather, but it isn't. Do you know what it is? I found it in the mud. Now, can you see what I can see here? It's a tiny bit of pipe stem just there. So, of course, I've no idea if there's anything underneath. Let's have a little look. Let's just dig around it a bit and see what's at the end of this stem. Are we going to hit the jackpot or not? Be lucky. Oh, we are going to be lucky. Look. See? See there? Right, let's just get that mud off, peel it away. And look at how that pipe is just lying there like that. And it has been in the dark for years and years. Let's say probably over 150 years at least. It's always exciting. There we are, look. Success. And it's a lovely fluted bowl too. There. I'll give it a rinse off so we can have a look. So, you know, you really have to keep your eyes open for those tiny little bits of pipe stem that just give it away. Let's give it a little wash. So I wonder who smoked that and who dropped it in the mud all those years ago. It's such a personal piece of history because the last person who touched this, of course, is long gone, and they had it between their lips. So, you know, it's a real connection to the past. And what's nice about this one is that I can see that there's a maker's mark on it as well. So hopefully I'll be able to find out a little bit more about it when I get home. But I'm thrilled with that. That just makes a rainy outing so worth it to find this little beauty. I just spotted this on the mud. Looks like a little sign, and it does have some lettering on it. It's unfortunately a little too small for me to look at right now, but of course as soon as I get home it's the first thing I shall do. It would be great if it actually links it to somewhere, but it could be just it could be instructions or something. I don't know, actually looking at it, it seems to have an alphabet on it. R for, see up there, look, R for Robert, S for sugar, T for, oh, is it the, you know, the alphabet? Let's have a look. B for beer, C for chalet. Okay, this is interesting. I have no idea what it is, but we'll get a better idea when I get it home. Now look here, I just saw this little bit of plate sticking out the edge here. Just sort of leveraged it up to see what might be under it, and I flipped it over to find this beautiful scene. I mean, just think how long that's been in the dark for. Look at it. It's like a little heavenly scene, and just waiting to be looked at. It's your time to shine. Little piece of pottery. Take it back, wash it up, and see where it was made, how old it is. It's such a lovely surprise. Actually, I just rinsed it off, and it says on it Devon. So I don't know if that means it's the scene or if that's who made it. There we go, Devon. Beautiful. Okay, I was just walking along, glanced down and saw something wedged in between the rocks down there. Can you see it? Here it is. And because it's not all sludgy today, it wasn't covered up. So here it is, just waiting to be plucked out. It is wedged between those rocks. It's pretty remarkable that it's survived for so long. See that side where it's been in the air is all sort of creamy, and then on the other side it's all black, but that will fade quite quickly. Another pipe. Excellent. Again, see the little imprint where it was. Isn't that great? You can see the little fluted bits there. A little pipe imprint, which will be gone by tomorrow. when the high tide comes up, it will wash it all away. You know, there's something very satisfying about being out in the rain and the mud and just getting out there, really, in the elements. Look what I've just seen down here. It looks like another ruler, or I found something similar before. And this one's obviously snapped. Nice. I just saw this piece of metal sticking out of the mud, so I gave it a little pull, and wasn't expecting anything to be on the end of it, but there's actually a spoon. It could be a really old spoon, judging by the state of the handle. Could be a really old spoon. Looking forward to giving that a little clean. Be pretty careful with it. Could be a really old spoon. I love to think that it might have come from the prison hulks or something. Look at that. Very, very old. I'm going to have to be very careful with that. It's practically falling apart. I wonder what this is. It sort of looks like part of a stoneware bottle, but I don't think it is. But on the bottom it has 100, and there is an address to look up. Very interesting. And it's J. Stiff and Sons. J. Stiff and Sons. Well, I shall be looking them up, looking up the Stiffs to see who they were. I found a nice little tag here. I wonder if it's got some letters on it. Oh, it does, and I love these tags. I love these tags. Let's give it a little wash. It's 1181. 1181. Well, the tide's on its way in now. The time has flown, as always. And so I'm going to head back to my car, go home and have a look at these things that I've found. Hi everyone, I'm back in my studio now and I'm going to do a quick roundup of the objects featured in today's video. And as I've been looking at these thrown away, discarded and lost objects, I began to wonder to myself, why are they so special? They're essentially rubbish from the past. But I suppose what it is for me, and probably for a lot of you as well, is that these objects, even though they're broken and they're thrown away, they have all got a story to tell, and they used to belong to somebody, and they're a real tangible connection to the past. I think that's what makes them so special to me in any case. So I wanted to start with this little piece of broken stoneware here, which is stamped with the name J. Stiff and Sons, London. So I did a little bit of research and found out that James Stiff was a notable English potter, and he was born in 1808 and he died in 1897. In 1843 he had his own pottery in Lambeth, and then in 1863 his sons William and Ebenezer Stiff joined him, and so it became James Stiff and Sons, and they specialised in terracotta and stoneware and made drain pipes, sanitary ware, and it certainly does seem to me that this may have had some kind of industrial use in the past. So that's the story of James Stiff and Sons from London. The next two objects I want to speak to you about are these two pipes which I found, and I never get fed up with finding pipes, which is just as well because I seem to find quite a few of them. And this one here was a real thrill to find, and I think it dates back to sort of mid-19th century, and what's exciting is that there is a maker's mark on it. And as far as I understand, maker's marks were stamped on the side of pipes from about the mid-19th century, 1861. So on one side it says Windsor Castle, which is really interesting. I've never heard or I've never seen one like that before, so I'll have to ask the Society for Clay Pipe Research if they know any information about that. Maybe there was a pipe maker near Windsor Castle, or is it a tourist thing? Did somebody visit Windsor Castle? I don't know, and if you know, please let me know. The other side there looks to be part of a name, but it's actually very difficult to read. So there's that one, and it does have that very pretty sort of fluted design here. Very nice. And as you can see, it's faded back to its original colour now that it's out of the mud. And the other one actually is very, very similar in design. In fact, pretty much identical, but it doesn't have a maker's mark on it. So probably made, or definitely made by somebody else, but the same kind of mould. And now I'd like to talk to you about this very interesting piece of metal, which was a real surprise to find. When I first managed to make out some of the lettering on it, I was really quite puzzled. It's got the likes of oranges, nuts, monkey, queen, beer, etc. And I thought, is this some kind of joke? But when I got home and started to research it, it transpires that it is the RAF phonetic alphabet dating back to between 1924 and 1942. Now, of course, the phonetic alphabet is a standardised way for aircrew to communicate with each other regardless of accents, language and pronunciation. And the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation standardised the phonetic alphabet in about 1956. Before that, the RAF had their own, the American military had their own, and the Army and the Navy, etc. And I think this is a really good example of the miscellaneous information that you can find lying around on the Thames foreshore. Now I want to talk to you about my spoon. So I saw a little bit of rusty metal sticking out of the mud and gave it a little pull, and out came part of a spoon. And as you can see, actually the top bit broke off. It was so rusty, it's broken off. I think there's some age to this spoon, but just afterwards, and when I put my camera away and it was so rainy, I didn't take it back out again, I saw another tip of a spoon poking out, and this time the entire spoon came out, and I think there's some age to this spoon. I'm going to put a more detailed photo on, so if anybody could tell me, then please do. But what is interesting about this spoon is at the top here, it's got a series of little dots, and it looks as if somebody has hand punched some dots. It looks to me as if it might say 187. I'll put a close-up picture on so that you can have a look. But it does look like a personalised spoon. Of course, depending on the age, could it have belonged to a member of the Navy? Could it have been someone from the prison hulks that were moored along the foreshore at Woolwich? I'd love to know your thoughts, but it's this kind of find actually that gets me quite excited, because it's got that little personal touch to it, and I just wonder if this spoon was used for somebody when they were eating their gruel over 100 years ago, over 150 years ago. So let me know your thoughts on that. Here I've got the ruler, or the part of the ruler which I found. Now that it's drying out, you can actually see the numbers on there quite clearly. And it's not dissimilar to one which I found a few months ago. In fact, it's very similar. There. Only this one is a little more complete. There's also this piece of plate, which was very special to find because it's been face down in the mud for so long, and then all of a sudden it's revealed to the world, you know, this rather pretty design. And on the back it's got a mark which is Devon, and I'm not too sure, I can't make out that bit there, it's quite faded, probably the maker. But that was a very nice surprise on on a rather grim, blustery day to see that coming out of the mud. I've got this little tiny head here. Now I do have quite a collection of tiny heads, and of course it makes you wonder where all the tiny bodies go, because they've got to be out there somewhere. And also this colourful little glass bead which was sitting in the mud waiting to be found, and I have found a few of these in fact, so that's very pretty, round somebody's neck at some point I expect. And here we've got a little tag with 1181 on it, probably from a factory. Maybe it belonged to a set of tools or something at some point. But I rather like these as well. I've got a little collection of these. And now for this mystery item. Do you know what it is? Have you worked it out, or did you already know? Well, I'm now about to reveal to you that this is the bone from the carapace of a turtle. It is a turtle rib bone. And I was absolutely stunned to find this out, and particularly puzzled as to why it would be in the Thames mud. And then I came across a really very interesting and kind of horrifying site, which went into some recipes from the past, and basically anything that moved really wasn't safe from the cooking pot. The likes of roast dormice in Roman times, rat stew, beaver's tails, which apparently taste a little bit like fish, and turtle soup, which was really very, very popular during Georgian times, and no Georgian banquet was complete without a big tureen of turtle soup. Or actually they were served, or turtle soup was served in the two shells. It was called calipash and calipee. And one of the shells was filled with the green soup made from the green flesh, and one of the shells was filled with the yellow soup. And it makes me feel a little bit queasy just thinking about it. But it was very, very popular, very hard to make. And these turtles were brought in from the West Indies alive and then kept in tanks before they were shipped off to taverns and restaurants to be made into soup. So I can only imagine that that was the fate of the poor turtle whose rib this once was. Now in my last video I said that each video I do from now on I'm going to put a little find underneath my new resplendent glass dome which I found in the mud a few weeks ago. And so this time, in keeping with the general dinner party, spoons, turtle soup, plates, etc., I am going to show you the top of a Roman bottle which I found a few years ago, and here it is. It's actually been registered on the Portable Antiquity Scheme database, and it's at the top of a Roman bottle that would have kept wine or water in it, and it's really rather beautiful. And of course, you know, it's just a fragment of broken bottle, but it's a fragment of broken bottle that was once in a Roman kitchen and which would have contained Roman wine and which might have been on the same dinner table as a roast dormouse. So there you are, it's rather special, and like I said, it's on the Portable Antiquity Scheme database, which I'll show you a photograph of. So that's a very special find to me. So thank you very much for watching. I would like to say thank you very much for your comments and feedback, as always, on my previous videos. I really, really do appreciate them. If you do like my channel and you enjoy my videos, please do subscribe. I'd like to say a big thank you to everybody who voted for my son Angelo to go through to the next stage of opening up for Bon Jovi on Bon Jovi's cruise in August. We should hear very, very soon, and of course I'll keep you updated on that. He's very excited, and I'm very grateful to you all for casting your vote. It means the absolute world. The other thing is, I'm just about to start a little spin-off series called Out and About with Tideline Art, where I'm going to meet and talk to artists, poets, writers, creators, or anyone really who has an interesting story to tell, who are inspired by the River Thames in some way. And so the first one is going to come out next Wednesday. They're going to come out like every 6 weeks or so on a Wednesday. The first one is going to be when I meet up with Ted Sandling, who is the author of London in Fragments. We got together and he told me a little bit about his book and some of the very interesting fragments that are featured in it. So I hope you'll enjoy that. So that'll be coming out next Wednesday. So do keep an eye out for that. So thank you very much again for watching. Have a great week. If you do have any information on any of these finds, I'm always absolutely thrilled to hear from you. Take care and see you soon.